Welcome back to Smok'n Jay's Garage. Today I'm going to show you how to hardwire your radar detector or a camera or whatever you want to do into your car. So I've got three different ways we're going to do it. One of them, this is the easiest one. This just plugs into your rearview mirror, gives you a USB port. This is a fuse tap, taps right into your fuse. And the third one is we're going to actually cut wires and we're going to splice them into the power wires. So let's start out with the easiest one. I got this in my truck. Let's head on over there right now. So this is what I did in my truck. This was absolutely the easiest one. You've got a 16-pin plug in the back of your mirror. I unplugged that plug. This plugged into that and then plugged into my mirror and gave me a USB port right here. That's what I've got plugged in. I've got this blue wire. I could have gotten a little bit shorter wire, but I went with the blue one, and that is wired up to my ignition. So as soon as I turn on my ignition, radar. There we go. We've got power. As soon as I shut my ignition off, it shuts off as well. So when I have my door closed and I shut my truck off, it will stay on along with the radio for up to 10 minutes unless I open up the door. So it is wired up to that delay like you have like your radio. So that was the easiest one. It's like 3 minutes, you're done. Looks good, works good. The next one is a fuse tap, and we did that in the Corvette, so we'll head over there and I'll show you that. So we've got this one hooked up with that fuse tap, and we got nice clean lines. Let me show you where the fuse box is and how we did that. Now on my Z06 Corvette, we have a fuse box under the hood and we have one underneath the passenger dash. So that's obviously where I went to. Now with this fuse tap, you're gonna pull out a fuse, you're gonna slide in this fuse tap, put that fuse you put in there. It will use that fuse and it will use the fuse that it comes with for the wire that you're putting in. So use something that you don't care if it blows necessarily. I went with my heated seats. If something were to happen, I have electric doors, I have electric gas door, I have electric trunk, all that stuff. I don't want to accidentally blow one of those fuses, and this is a product I'm somewhat unfamiliar with. So just to make sure, I went with my heated seats. If I'm driving and my heated seats go out, not a huge deal, right? So I'm going to see if you can sneak in there closer. We ran this. We got wires over here. You can't see them. We got wires over here. You can't see them. I don't know how well they're going to show up on camera because you can't see them. That's the idea, right? But I'm going to let you sneak in here. We've got our wire tap over here, and we've got it grounded right over here. I'm going to let you sneak in there a little bit closer. If you are unfamiliar with a fuse tap, this is basically what it looks like. It came with four different design fuses. All of them were 5 amp. So I'm going to pull out, the one I pulled out was a 10 amp. I pull out my 10 amp fuse. I put it in the bottom there. I stick this over. This rides over the top of all of your other fuses so it doesn't take up any room that you need unless you have a cap that sits on very tightly. In our case, we don't have that. And then we just hooked our positive wire in here, and then our ground we went in there. So that was super easy. We will fire this up and show you that it works here in just a second. Let me close this up. And this one only works when the vehicle is running. It does not work with accessory mode or anything like that. So we have to fire up the car, but you might not mind that. As you can see, we have our Corvette back from Lindgren Supercars. We have the truck back from Lindgren Supercars. We're getting our other Corvette out, and we're getting the boat out. So we got a lot of content coming up now. So you need to make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Now let's head over to the BMW, and I'll show you what we got to take apart to hardwire that. So this one is hooked up to the ignition as well.
Rocky Mountain radar.
You can see we got that on there. We got nice clean lines. Everything is wired up to the power from the mirror. Very similar to that of the truck, but we actually had to splice it into wires up here. So we will pop this off. I don't know if you can see what we did here. Probably not very well. Let me pop this one out as well. All right, so we spliced our wire right here. We did a wire splice. we went into the yellow and green wire. That is going to be your ignition, at least on this vehicle. That is going to be your ignition only. And then we went ahead and we ground it. Right there is where we grounded it. There's plastic here, but this up here that is in is metal. So that took care of that. Nice clean look. We just come out right here. We have that little bit of wire sticking there, and that is it. So this was by far the hardest one to do. We actually took what it was, a cigarette lighter plug-in, and we cut that off, and then we wired it up like that. So depending on what rear view mirrors these days, almost all have power to them. So that's your easiest source of power, typically, is getting to your rear view mirror. So when we put this back up together, and then we'll finish up. You should always consider a radar detector something more as situational awareness than a license to speed. And remember that radar detectors or laser detectors only detect the presence of a radar or a laser and not necessarily the presence of a cop. You may see a cop who is not running his radar, and if you're going 140 miles an hour and traffic is going 70 with or without his radar, he's going to know you're speeding. If you're at a stoplight and you're trying to do a burnout and there's a cop at the other end of it, he may not have his radar detector on and you may not be warned, but he's probably going to get you. So keep those things in mind, okay? If this video was helpful to you, make sure that you like, subscribe, and give it a thumbs up. But that's basically the same as liking. So if you watch this channel for the first time and you haven't already and you want to, boom, please subscribe.